The house is quiet this morning, the kind of quiet that only comes before the day fully wakes. The light is just beginning to move across the kitchen floor, and the sourdough starter has been waiting patiently on the counter, ready to be used. Over the next 72 hours, I'll be tending sourdough in its many forms. Pancakes for cold mornings, bread for days ahead, and croissants that take a little more patience than most things do. The kind of baking that asks you to wait, to watch, and to trust the process. Something that I'm learning again and again in this season of life. This is what our mornings often look like here, unpolished, peaceful, and full in the smallest ways. Home as a place of rest and making. It's just a glimpse into a life lived slowly, shaped by faith, patience, and the work of home. A life where nourishment takes time, and presence matters more than perfection. Come along with me. There's plenty of baking to be done, a little exploring to do, and a slow morning to share. I'm Elise, and this is my homestead cottage. Lately, I've been really trying to push myself to try new recipes, even if some are a little bit more challenging or advanced. When I started using sourdough and starting to learn about how to properly care for it and what exactly is sourdough starter and what exactly is the discard, I truly had no idea what to do. I didn't want to admit that I was in a little bit over my head, but boy, I pushed through. And yes, I may have let a starter die once or twice, but I'm so pleased with my determination to just stick it out. It started snowing the beginning of this week, and I thought that it would be the perfect time to make sourdough pancakes. I've made these pancakes for a few weeks now, and these are just the fluffiest and softest pancakes that I've ever had without feeling heavy or making you feel bloated. So they are also so easy to make, and I'll be sure to link the recipe down below. When I first started making sourdough and sourdough bread, the biggest issue that I had was my starter. But of course, I didn't really know what the issue was. I was letting it ferment way too long without adding nearly enough water and flour in order for it to be fully happy and bubbly and webby. So my loaves weren't rising properly. They weren't getting a really nice crust. They were very dense, and it was really hardly getting any bigger than its raw form. And the fermented sour smell and taste didn't really leave an unpleasant zing in my mouth, but I knew that that wasn't supposed to be there. So I made so many different loaves, loaf after loaf of flat, tart, soury breads. I finally figured it out. I joined a Facebook group, I asked questions, I read the comments, and figured out that it really was my starter that was the problem all along. But by then, I had tried so many different recipes and methods of preparing and shaping and folding the loaves that one day I just decided I was completely over it. So I finished making that loaf the way that I just wanted, just to get it over with. And it turned out to be the best one I've made to date. I thought that I needed to try folding the dough a certain way, and I was like, oh, well, maybe I need to be incorporating my salt into my first step instead of waiting and letting it rise for 30 minutes. But truly, I've learned that sourdough can be very forgiving, even if it's overworked or if it's hungry. If you're relaxed and not in a rush, everything will turn out just fine. It really doesn't have to be perfect. And that was probably the biggest mental block that I had to get over when I was making this sourdough in the beginning. So because of that, I've realized that sourdough should be fun and not stressful or overwhelming because of how long it takes to make a single loaf of bread, but it should be something not just you put a lot of time and effort into, but it's just a rewarding experience. You put so much effort into something to make something just delicious.
Good morning. We've already done quite a bit of baking this morning. I've got an artisan loaf resting right now, so we'll be doing some stretch and folds very soon. And I also started working on my sourdough croissants. I've never made sourdough croissants before. I haven't made croissants in general. I've made other puff pastries in the past, but I don't know. I'm a little skeptical to see how this one is going to turn out, but we'll just wait and see. I'm skeptical because I didn't have enough starter for both my bread and the croissants. We just have to wait for my starter to activate a little bit, and then we'll combine it all and move on with the recipe. I need to try to figure out what we're going to do with that. Anyway, let's clean up the kitchen and do some chores, and we'll get back to work on our sourdough baking very soon. So, first things first, tidy and a cup of coffee.
After I figured out what was plaguing my sourdough starter and my flat loaves, I was on the hunt to find the best sourdough recipes out there and incorporate them into my regular menu.
It is 40 degrees outside, which means we can go outside. You good outside? Yeah. And we finally get some nice weather. All the snow is pretty much melted. It's all gone. So we're going to go find the kitty cats and do some good outside stomping. Aren't we? Jump, 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 jump. Okay, careful. Woo! Yeah, come on, let's go. You see Nellie? There. Ready? Here, you want your water? breakfast, and I really wanted to show you how beautifully the loaf turned out last night, but we've already eaten almost all of it. This is really all that's left, but it just turned out beautifully. This is probably one of the best loaves that I've made to date. It's so good. I'm so proud of myself. So I'm so sorry I didn't get to get footage of us devouring it, but usually one loaf of bread can go for about 2 days in our household before it's completely gone. But we also had company spend the night, so it's gone doubly fast, if you could say that. So kitchen is still a little bit of a mess from breakfast, but I got to take a shower, which is so nice. It sounds so awful and oversharing probably, but being a new mom and trying to navigate this whole world of a new motherhood, I typically don't ever get a chance to take a shower in the morning. It is usually showering with the baby at nighttime or every other day, so it is so nice to come down and be refreshed and have my hair blow dried for once, and it just feels really good. So I'm going to tidy up the kitchen just a little bit today, and we still have those croissants that I need to work on, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit intimidated. I need to reread the recipe and figure out what exactly I need to do in order to properly do this. I may go to the store and get some more cream so we can make some homemade butter, but I also really want to do my devotional this morning. So let's go do the devotional because I don't really want to clean right now. So let's do it.
I don't know what it is about baking, but to me it's not just about baking a comforting sweet treat or a satisfying loaf of sourdough bread. Of course, who wouldn't love to just savor the results of a hard, long day in the kitchen? I remember some of my earliest memories were of me and my grandmother's baking something delicious, be it a large quantity of sugar cookies iced with an array of mismatched colors with those metal pearls. They kind of look like little BB pellets, and I never understood why are we putting these little metal balls onto our food and eating it anyway, or making banana bread or waffles for breakfast. I have such treasured memories of those times in the kitchen with my grandmothers that I wanted to make sure to bring those memories back from the past to the present for my son and future children to remember and participate in. I remember my grandmother always had some kind of dessert waiting for guests to come and visit, and that resonated with me. I want to be the kind of hostess to have just something homemade on the counter ready to be eaten. I don't know, that just seems very cozy. To me, it felt like making sourdough croissants was a final test, or a stepping stone to prove to myself that even with such a difficult and time-consuming recipe, I could finally really tackle sourdough recipes, no matter how challenging they might be. Sourdough croissants are not just complicated to construct, but they refuse to be rushed. The dough must rest when it wants to rest. The butter must stay cool. The folds must be done at the right time, not the most convenient one. There are moments when it feels as though nothing is happening at all, and others when everything can be lost with one careless step. I find life often asks the same of us, to slow down, to wait, to trust that the work being done quietly and unseen still matters. In seasons like these, I'm reminded that God is often at work in the waiting, shaping what we cannot yet see, asking us to be faithful with what's right in front of us. Sometimes we can only see the light at the end of the tunnel through patience, through pauses, imperfect attempts, and starting again when needed. And somehow, in the tending and the trusting, nourishment is made for our homes and our hearts.
Good morning. It's our final day of baking and we are finishing up these croissants. And yes, we are. So the only thing left to do is to shape them and let them rise for about 4 hours. And then we'll be done. Bless you. Bless you.
By the time the baking is finished, the house feels different, fuller somehow. The countertops are dusted with flour, the air is warm, and the quiet work of the past few days has taken shape into something that we can hold and share. There's a quiet joy in this kind of baking, not the kind that comes from perfection, but from paying attention, from learning when to wait, when to act, and when to simply let time do its work. Sourdough has a way of teaching that lesson gently, again and again. Life feels much the same. The days we move through here aren't meant to be rushed or measured by how much we finish. There's a goodness in steady tending, in small faithful acts, in choosing a slower way when the world urges speed.
They look so good. I'm so hungry. Okay. We're just gonna scoop them out. They deserve a platter. Hold on. Well, that wraps up our baking adventures for the week. I am so thrilled with how everything turned out. And here are the croissants. I'm so happy with how these turned out. I'm definitely going to be making these again. But you know, since it was my first time making croissants from scratch using sourdough, I definitely learned a lot of things along the way. But I am very happy with the results. And look at how flaky and just so soft and crunchy. It's just, I'm so impressed. I have the definition and I just definitely doing that again. However, I am not going to be adding chocolate in the future because it just melted out everywhere and just made a big old mess and there was hardly any chocolate left inside the croissants to eat. So we'll have to figure out another method for that in the future. But my bread turned out great this week, and of course the sourdough pancakes were just delicious. So all in all, some really good sourdough baking this week. And I know sourdough baking can be a little bit of a challenge and a little intimidating, but in the end, it's just really worth it. So thank you so much for spending 72 hours with me in my kitchen and spending the days with us. It's just been very nice and relaxing. So I hope that you also have a very nice and relaxing day and enjoy some baking while it's still a little bit gloomy out. And I'll see you in the next video.